Hey everybody. Let's clear this out of the way. I don't know what that is. Thank you for quietly moving notifications. Welcome to writing equations of parallel lines. So we are going to do stuff like if I need to create an equation of a line containing a certain point and we know that it's parallel to something else, we're going to work on, okay, well, how do I create the line for this? So everything today is going to hinge on this notion of being parallel. Okay, so what does being parallel mean? Well, parallel lines have the same slope. So we're going to create an equation that's parallel to another line. The first thing we have to figure out is, okay, what's the slope of the other line? And our line has to have the same one. So if we look at, let's do here. If we look at the slope of the other line has a slope of 1/2, and it's right there. So we have to create an equation. Oops, let's not use that. Let's use black. So we have to create an equation in slope-intercept form that looks like y equals mx plus b. Okay, well, so whenever you're creating lines, there's two things you need to figure out. You need to figure out your slope, and you need to figure out your y-intercept. So our line is parallel to a line with a slope of 1/2. So if it's parallel to that, then that means that our line is going to have the same slope. So our line has a slope of 1/2. Okay, great. So now what we're missing is, okay, well, what's my y-intercept here? Well, let's see. We can figure that out because we're given a point on our line. So we're given this -4, -5. So we're given an xy coordinate on the line. So let's plug that in. Remember, any coordinate on the line is a solution to the equation, which means we can plug it in and it's going to work out. So -5 is y, x is 4, so -4. And now we're going to solve for our y-intercept. So -5 equals -2 plus b. And we add 2 on both sides. So it looks like -3 is going to be our b. Okay, so we figured out our m. Our m was 1/2. Now our b is -3. So the equation of our line is y equals 1/2 x minus 3. Okay, because what we figured out, so let's make this big. So we figured out that our b is 3, and it's parallel to this line that has a slope of 1/2. So our line has to have a slope of 1/2 also because we're parallel. And then we figured out, oh, also our y-intercept is -3. So the equation of our line is going to be y equals 1/2 x minus 3. Let's see another example. Okay, well, what if now I wanted to have an equation of a line containing the point 0, 5. So this point is on my line, and I am parallel to this line. Okay, so I need to make an equation, y equals mx plus b. I need to figure out my m, and I need to figure out my b. What we were given, hey look, we were really nicely given a y-intercept, right? When x is 0, that's where the y-intercept occurs. So our y-intercept is actually at 5. So we were lucky. So I have that so far for my equation, but I still need to figure out my m. Well, I'm going to figure out my m by getting the slope of this equation here. So how do I do that? Well, let's just put it in slope-intercept form, and then we'll pick it out. So that's -3x on both sides. Oops, let's make that equal sign. So we have 2y equals -3x plus 2. Divide everybody by 2. So y equals -3 halves x plus 1. So our line is parallel to this line, so the thing we want to pick out is we want to pick out the slope. Alright, so our line has a slope of -3 halves and a y-intercept of 5. So our equation is going to be y equals -3 halves x plus 5. Because again, we want to be parallel to this line here. So we want to be parallel to this line, which means we want to have the same slope as that line. So that's why we went through and figured out the slope of that line. So that gave us our m, and then we need to figure out what our b is, but we were really nicely given our b already in the description of the problem because our line contains the point 0,5, so therefore if x is 0, that's where the y-intercept shows up. So 5 is our y-intercept, negative 3/2 is our slope, and we're good. And let's see one more that might be a little tricky that we might have to think about. Okay, so now what if, let's go back to black. Now what if we have to write the equation of a line? So our line contains the point 3, 4. Okay, that's important information. And we're parallel to this line here. What does the line x equals 5 look like? Okay, well there's the point 5. It's a, oops, nope, I don't want it. Can I use a line? Nope, can't use a line. Okay, I'm gonna have to draw. So it's a vertical line. Hey, that's a pretty good vertical line. It's probably one of the better ones I've drawn. So the equation x equals 5 is a vertical line through 5 on the x-axis. Okay, so we want our line to be parallel to that line. Okay, well, as you can imagine, our line will also be a vertical line. So the slope here is undefined, right? So and the slope of our line has to be the same because we're parallel, so our slope is also going to be undefined. So our equation is also going to look like x equals some number. But now, how do I figure out the number that I use? Well, it's going to be the same x that it's in the point that I have. So our equation is just simply going to be x equals 3. So our line, blue is a fun color. So our line is also a vertical line, but it's just through the point x is 3. So the blue line is our line. The black line was the line we wanted to be parallel to. X equals 3 is our equation. X equals 5 is the original equation, and we're done. So as a wrap up, what you're trying to do, if you're trying to create an equation of a line parallel to another line, figure out the slope of the other line first. And because your line has to be parallel to it, then you're going to use that same exact slope. And then you have to figure out, okay, well, what is my y-intercept? So that's left for you to figure out. You can either plug in the points x and y, or you can graph. We have many different ways to figure out the y-intercept. But that's it. I hope that helped. And, if you guys need more, just email me or write something in the comments. Thanks, guys.